What's going on, guys? It's your boy JefTV, and today we're gonna talk about my 7 months review on this bike. If you guys are wondering, this bike is this year's 2020 ZX6R. I bought this bike somewhere around November, right? So I've been driving this bike for almost every day now. I bought this bike because I needed something to commute to work and going back home. And yeah, here I am. I'm gonna give you guys a 7 months review and tell you guys what I think about this bike. I guess this video is gonna be mainly about people who use different type of bike to commute. I'm personally using a sports bike right now. But if you use a different type of bike, then you can probably watch some other video. But this video is about a sports bike, specifically a 600cc bike. And if you're curious about whether or not to get this bike or not to commute, then you should keep watching. Alright, so the first thing that I like about this bike is the slipper clutch. Let me tell you, driving every day here in Hong Kong, traffic do come quite often during the peak hours. Having this slipper clutch is so helpful, because you know, having to sit behind the traffic while your hand is pulling on the clutch, man, it can get really tiring. But since this bike has a slipper clutch, man, it is so much easier to just hold on to it, you know what I mean? So the next thing that I like about this bike is this bike has modes. Let me just put the power mode and the traction control all in the same category. Like I like them both, is because for the power, if you're looking into just commuting every day, you can just set it to low power mode and you know, you can just cruise. Like, you don't have to be jerking all the time, having the bike very torquey. You know, like, it can get really uncomfortable. But if you set it to low power mode, you can ease out with the torque. And as for the traction control, since it's summer now, rain do come quite often these days. Like today, you can see a very clear sky, you know, like you wouldn't miss this day to just head on to the beach, man. As I was saying, because it's rainy nowadays, the traction control saved me a lot. But that also means that I can drive this bike really confidently without having to worry about me skidding or having my back wheel to just spin out. So that's what I feel about the modes and the traction control with this bike. You know, like, it just makes you feel confident in general. So the next thing I like about this bike is the quick shifter. Now, I know for some of you would think that the quick shifter is for people who is lazy and they don't want to use the clutch and just like having to just upshift with your feet. The quick shifter is made for racing, and obviously we use this bike to commute. We don't really have to use the quick shifter, but the quick shifter does help a lot with the comfort while riding the bike. So, you know, instead of like having to pull different type of levers, you can just upshift, no problem. I really like this quick shifter a lot. It's so much fun, I'm telling you. It's such a nice weather today, man. It's a good cause to go to the beach. Let's go, bruh! So the next thing I like about this bike is the sitting position. For most people, they would think that a 600, it's so sporty. You know, you have to lean in quite forward, and you know, that would make your wrist really stressed out. You know, that would make you really uncomfortable while riding the bike. But for this bike, it's not that leaned in. And to be honest, I can ride this bike all day, no problem. I find this bike the most comfortable position ever. Alright, so that's all my pros about this bike, and now let's move on to the cons. The first thing that I don't like about this bike is the turn signal placement. For most bike, they're around average, you know, they would usually place it in that area. You know, obviously a 600 sports bike will still need your body position to be a little leaned in, that if you're holding onto the handlebar, right, it's quite hard to reach for that. It's quite uncomfortable to do so. The only way that I would find it comfortable to use the turn signal is having my hand to be out here and turn it. But if I'm holding on tightly, it's hard. I don't know if it's my thumb is not flexible, I don't know, but that's one of the things that I don't really like about this bike. If it's okay with you to have your whole hand being out of the bar, then you know it's fine. But for me, I personally like my hand to be on the bar the whole time. I don't know, it's just safer that way. So the next thing that I don't like about this bike is the quick shifter. Now I know I did say that I like the quick shifter a lot, but there's like a minor thing that you need to consider about this quick shifter. When you're commuting, you know, like you normally would just stay around 6,000 RPM more or less. Using the quick shifter in that range of RPM is fine. Like it can go butter smooth. Like if you can see it there, it's fine. But if you're using the quick shifter while racing, let's say if you bring the RPM into, let's say 12 or 14,000 RPM, there's a certain lag that the bike does. I don't know if it's about the quick shifter or some electronics that's malfunctioning, but when you go that high RPM and you use the quick shifter, there's a certain jerk and a lag sensation. Like you feel like the power didn't deliver like right away. You feel like, wait, did I use my quick shifter right? Yeah, so that's one of the things that you need to think about if you want to use this bike to, I don't know, race or something. That's something you need to consider about. Or you can probably replace it in some point, but to me this works fine for now. Alright, so let's move to the next dislike about this bike. So the other thing that I don't like about this bike is it's something about the traction control. I'm not saying about how it performs, but it's something to do with the electronic. So what happened is, when you turn off your bike completely, turning the key, you know, that would turn off the whole computer system of the bike, right? As soon as you turn your bike on again, the traction control will default at 1. Even though that you set your traction control to whatever setting there is, let's say, like right now I set it to off, right? So when I turn it off, when I turn it back on, it will go back to 1 again. And to me, that's kind of a hassle, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I just prefer it to saving it to whatever settings that I was using before, if that makes sense. I don't know if there's a setting to it that I can just set, but at this point I don't know if there is any. So yeah guys, we arrived to the beach. So yeah guys, so that's my pros and cons about this bike. If you happen to have the same bike as this model, leave a comment down below and let me know like what you think about this bike, and tell me what do you like and dislike about this bike. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I hope you like this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe, and yeah, till next time guys, peace.